Here is what happened at Martinsville Speedway on March 29th, 2026, and once you hear the full story, the move, the wreck, the fallout, and what it cost one of NASCAR's most talked about drivers, you will understand exactly why the entire NASCAR world has been buzzing ever since. Bubba Wallace came into Martinsville sitting third in the Cup Series point standings. He was having one of the strongest starts to a season in his career, consistently running near the top, banking solid points week after week. His 23X1 Racing team had shown genuine speed. In Saturday practice, they were fast. The expectations heading into Sunday's Cookout 400 were high, but Sunday did not go as planned. The car was not performing the way it had in practice, and frustration was already building inside the number 23 before the race even reached its critical moments. Before we get into all of it, if you are a real NASCAR fan who wants honest, fact-driven breakdowns of moments like this, hit that like button right now and subscribe to NASCAR Racing Report. We are working toward 5,000 subscribers and every single one counts. Now let's get into it, because this story has layers. Then came lap 324. On a restart, Carson Hocevar in the number 77 Spire Motorsports Chevrolet made an aggressive move. He went 3 wide into turn 1 at Martinsville. Now, if you know Martinsville, you know that is not a casual decision. That short, tight, paperclip-shaped track demands that every driver on a restart checks up entering turn 1. Drivers deeper in the field are braking earlier than they normally would, giving up momentum to manage the corner safely. Denny Hamlin, on his podcast Actions Detrimental, explained it perfectly. It's typically a DCAX move. If everyone's restarting into turn 1 on a restart, everyone's got to check up for the corner. If you're in row 8, you're checking up for the entry of 1 sooner than you normally would. Carson says, I'm going to go 3 wide on a restart at Martinsville to the bottom. It's not illegal, it's just a DCAX move. Hocevar was exploiting the fact that everyone around him had to slow down, and he used that window to dive low and force his way through. Wallace did not appreciate it one bit. 1 lap later, Wallace made his move. Entering turn 3, he drove the number 23 directly into the back of Hocevar's number 77. The initial contact did not send Hocevar spinning immediately, but Wallace did not lift. He stayed on the throttle, made contact again, and this time Hocevar's car got turned around. What followed was a massive pileup. 12 cars were collected in the incident, including Zane Smith, Chris Buescher, Connor Zilish, John Hunter Nemechek, and Eric Jones. Hocevar was able to continue racing and ultimately finished 17th. Wallace, on the other hand, was done. His car had taken race-ending damage, and he was credited with a 36th place finish, the worst result of his 2026 season. Kevin Harvick, speaking on his Happy Hour podcast, summed up the unwritten rule Wallace had broken. It's tough when you crash a guy like that and then wind up in the crash yourself, and your day is done and it wipes out so many cars. In racing, if you are going to retaliate, the one thing you cannot do is take yourself out in the process. Wallace did exactly that. After the race, Wallace addressed what happened. I misjudged, he said. I didn't appreciate the 3 wide into turn 1, fine, but I misjudged the center of the corner and didn't mean to turn Carson Hocevar. What a frustrating day. With so much expectation coming here. Favorite track, Hardy's on the car, just wasn't the day we wanted. He called it a mistake and pointed toward the off weekend ahead as an opportunity to reset before Bristol Motor Speedway. Hamlin, for his part, understood the impulse but was clear about what went wrong. He's thinking the result. He's just going to knock the 77 up the racetrack, get him back, and keep going. But the problem was once he got him up, he just kept going, and it was just a huge pile up. Wallace's plan, in theory, was a controlled hit. A message. What it became was a multi-car disaster that ended his own day. Nobody was harder on Wallace in the immediate aftermath than his own crew chief, Freddie Kraft. Kraft did not sugarcoat anything. There's not really any sugarcoating about it. I gotta take Bubba for his word. He said he misjudged, and if he misjudged, it was a really bad misjudgment and it hurts. We went from 3rd in points to now we're tied for 8th with 5 other guys. Essentially, we're 11th in points and it can't happen. Kraft went even further, defending Hocevar entirely. Hocevar did nothing wrong. He took us 3 wide into turn 1 and passed us clean. I don't think he did anything wrong. I think it was just a lapse in judgment for a moment. And then Kraft delivered the bottom line without hesitation. You can't have those moments, and if you want to be a contender for the championship, or a contender to be top 5, top 7, 8 in points, whatever it is, that HT can't happen. Unfortunately, we ended our day yesterday self-inflicted. The broader NASCAR analyst community reacted with similar disbelief. Jeff Gluck of The Athletic, speaking on the Teardown podcast, called it one of the more puzzling decisions we've seen all year, really, pointing out that Wallace had been having a genuinely strong point season before this moment. He was having such a solid start, and even if it wasn't going to be the great day today, you've just got to figure out how to deal with taking a 10th place finish, taking a 15th place finish, whatever it is, because he cost himself at least 20 points. At least? Gluck's co-host Jordan Bianchi added important context. The frustration that led to the incident had been building long before Hocevar's restart move. The car was not right all day. Wallace could not replicate the Saturday pace. This is me just kind of projecting a little bit. I think that probably contributed to the decision there to bulldoze Carson Hocevar. You're frustrated because Hocevar took advantage of you on a restart that you didn't feel good about. Then you drive into him in the corner and just take him out. That's not good. Bianchi also noted the broader trend that makes this even harder to absorb. How quickly this all changes. A few weeks ago, he's sitting in second in points. You're like, man, he's running well every week. He just hasn't been able to kind of break through yet, but they're right there. Then boom, 34th, 36th, and now he's 11th in the points. No top fives, and you look at this a different way, and it's like, okay. The debate among analysts was not completely one-sided, though. Kyle Petty and Steve Letarts weighed in with different perspectives. Petty was firm. Hocevar is an easy target right now. You almost wrecked Hocevar, and everybody says, well, that's just Hocevar. He had that one coming, but in this case, I don't think Hocevar had this coming, man. Taking you 3 wide at Martinsville is not cause for what we're seeing right here on the screen. Letart, meanwhile, offered a more sympathetic read. I think Bubba misjudged how far he was pushing the accelerator down. I think that's what he misjudged. That's just Martinsville. You give him a shot because you're going to go to the left. Now let's put the points damage in plain numbers. Wallace entered Martinsville 3rd in the standings. He left 11th, a drop of 8 positions in a single afternoon. He is now tied at 206 points with Brad Keselowski, Kyle Larson, and Chris Buescher. Meanwhile, Tyler Reddick leads the standings with a comfortable cushion. A gap that only gets harder to close when you are handing away points through self-inflicted damage. Wallace also has 0 top 5 finishes in 2026, a stat that is becoming harder to ignore as the season builds toward its most critical stretch. Bianchi's closing thought on the teardown captures the stakes perfectly. You can't do it. You just have to look at the big picture, and we've heard a lot of the drivers talk about this a little bit, and it is a change in mindset. Nobody's raced a system quite like this before, and now they're just kind of figuring it out. It's going to be one of those things later this year where people are like, oh, okay. Bristol now becomes the most important race of Bubba Wallace's season, not just for the points, but for the statement it makes about who he is as a competitor at this stage of his career. The speed is real. The 23XI racing operation is legitimate, but speed without emotional discipline in this points format will not get anyone to the championship. One strong, clean, controlled run at Bristol can begin to rewrite the story. Another impulsive moment, and the narrative becomes something far harder to shake. So here's the question I want you to answer in the comments right now. Did Bubba Wallace make the right call trying to get payback on Carson Hocevar? Or should he have just taken the points and moved on? Drop your thoughts below. And if you are the kind of fan who wants real, honest NASCAR breakdowns like this one, hit that like button and subscribe to NASCAR Racing Report. We are pushing toward 5,000 subscribers, and every single one of you is part of building something real here. Don't miss what's coming next, because Bristol is going to tell us everything.